Open access brings many benefits to the authors, readers, and funders of academic research. Removing the barrier to access of a subscription paywall opens up important research findings far beyond the sometimes siloed parameters of the academy and allows access to anyone in the world with an internet connection. However, this is a new and evolving way of publishing, fundamentally challenging a model that's been in place and serving the academic research community for decades, if not centuries. And in some disciplines, often those with a funding stream from organizations with a strong mandate for open access, the model is widely adopted already. And many of our authors are already passionate advocates for open access. In other disciplines, though, where the funding has been perhaps less forthcoming or funding bodies are less focused on open access, the pace of adoption has been much slower. To many authors in these areas, the benefits of open access and the routes to funding they may take are less clear. We firmly believe that the benefits of open access should be open to all researchers, and we see it as a key part of our role and mission to work with institutions and funders to educate our authors and make the process of publishing open access as streamlined and as transparent as possible. I'd like to focus in today, though, on some of the key myths or misunderstandings that we hear most often from our authors about open access. Next slide, please. The first of which is essentially, there is no benefit to me to going open access. Many authors fail to see the immediate benefits. They often feel actually that it's more of an administrative burden that can be imposed on them by their funders or their parent institution than a model that can bring real benefits to their work. We see in our data the huge increase in usage that open access content gets. For journal articles, roughly 5 times higher on average than their non-open access equivalents. And there is evidence too that this strong usage is also leading to increased dissemination and impact. We're seeing evidence of a positive citation impact in our own data, and industry-wide studies report that on average, open access articles receive at least 18% more citations than non-open access articles. And we also see similarly positive signs in the less traditional measures of impact, such as social media mentions, news media and blog coverage, and policy paper references. Next slide, please. The second myth is that open access somehow equates to low quality. It's true that with the rise of open access, there has been a corresponding rise in the instances of predatory journal publishing, an exploitative business model in which fake journals charge authors a fee for publication with no intention of providing the expected services, such as editorial guidance or peer review in return. But for ourselves and for the vast majority of our reputable competitors, the quality of the content we publish remains of paramount importance to our long-term sustainable future. It's absolutely imperative to us that our editorial processes and rigor remain at the heart of everything that we publish. So all content that is submitted to us for publication under an open access model goes through the exact same process of peer review and editorial board scrutiny, advice and acceptance criteria that our traditional subscription-based content has always gone through. We draw no distinction between the two content types, and the business model of open access, the payment of an article processing charge, is kept completely separate from the editorial process and plays no part whatsoever in the decisions that our editors take about the validity or otherwise of research. Next slide, please. The third and perhaps most commonly heard myth from our author base is that open access is just too expensive for me or not an option. As I mentioned earlier, many of our authors are in some of the less well-funded disciplines, particularly perhaps in areas of the humanities and social sciences, where significant research grants from large charitable foundations are just less forthcoming, feel that the biggest barrier to their going open access is a financial one. In a recent survey that we conducted of our author base from across all the disciplines we publish in, 76% of respondents strongly agreed with the statement that open access publishing is progressive and should be encouraged. However, from the same cohort, 54% agreed with the statement that OA is too expensive. And what that says to us is that our authors see the value in the concept of open access, but often cannot see beyond that perceived financial barrier. So it's a key priority for us to find new business models that all of the authors we work with can use to publish their articles open access. And we have publishing agreements with many institutions that mean you as an author will be able to submit your work open access without paying a fee. Next slide, please. So we offer some options for APCs to be waived, particularly for papers by authors based in lower income countries. We partner with Research for Life, an organisation dedicated to providing access to academic content and services in parts of the world where finance is a real barrier. And we either waive completely or significantly discount our article processing charges. Our biggest priority by far, though, is to work with our long-standing institutional customers, the university libraries who have always provided access to journal content through the payment of subscriptions, to put in place publishing agreements which allow faculty unlimited options to publish open access in a broad range of our journals, so-called read and publish deals or transformative agreements. Next slide, please. You can see on this map here, we have transformative agreements covering more than 2,300 institutions in over 50 countries all over the world, from Europe to the Americas, to Africa, Asia, and Oceania. Our strategy is to convert as many of our traditional subscription-based customers to this model as possible, as quickly as possible. If you are based in an institution that has such a deal with us, you have the opportunity to publish your work open access in almost any of our journals without having to pay an APC. We've worked with your institution on an agreement that repurposes some of the money they previously spent with us on subscriptions to instead fund the APCs for authors in that institution. From the perspective of you, the author, this is open access publishing free of any financial barrier. Next slide, please. So we hope you found this a useful and engaging session, and we'd love to hand over now to any questions any of you may have. Thank you.